to the Silver and Black Show, everybody. Amber Theoharis along with James Jones. It's time to get back on track. The Raiders have been on the East Coast all week, so they're acclimated. They're ready for the humidity. They are acclimated to the time change. Now they need to get a win on the road. And, JJ, is it a matter of going out and taking a win, not waiting for a win to come, taking a win and having that attack mentality?
You're absolutely right. You need to come out aggressive, right? We talking about a good Jacksonville Jaguars defense that's been in every game, right? You don't want to keep these guys in the game. They've been in every game into the fourth quarter. You need to come out and put your foot on their throat early, right? I don't care if you got to go for it on fourth down, but you got to be aggressive. You got to stay on the field. I don't care if you come out, you're aggressive, taking some shot plays down the field to try to get some explosive gains, but you got to start this game fast, and you got to start it aggressively on the offensive side of the ball, especially last week because we put up 0 points. You got to come out aggressive.
And you spoke about this on Raiders Game Day last week. Getting your key receiver, Davante Adams, involved early. How important is it to get him in a rhythm? Because we always focus on Josh Jacobs and establishing the run. Do you feel like in this case, let's get Davante back in?
It's huge, right? Because you want to get him in the rhythm of the game, right? I've been in the position Davante was in to where you don't get in the groove of the game until third quarter, right? And it's too late, right? So you want to get him up to speed and get him in a rhythm early in this football game. So now when he catches that third pass, now we're seeing the true Davante Adams making people miss, getting the explosive plays, right? Because he's in a rhythm of the game. You got to find ways. We got our first 15. I don't know if they got their first 10, first 15, but he needs to be a target at least in half of those.
Be in that script and get up early so that Josh Jacobs can continue to run the ball. Now, this is a team that can sneak up on you. We have talked about how close the games they have been in. Very bizarre stat. They have a plus 14 scoring differential. Plus 14, that means they have outscored their opponents in general, but they have a 2-6 record. And it's come down to the fourth quarter. They've held the lead in the fourth quarter in 6 out of their first 8 games. Also, in 5 of their 6 losses, all have been by 1 score or less. They're going to keep it close, so the Raiders are going to need to pull away very early. And we need to talk about their main weapon, Travis Etienne. Travis Etienne is a guy that has been on a roll. 114 yards against the Giants, 150-some yards against the Denver Broncos. And look what Alvin Kamara did to the Raiders last week. That run defense got to be on point.
How many did you say against Denver?
150. Hold on, let me check my notes. That would be 156.
156 versus a really good Denver Broncos defense, right? And this young fella right here is just like Alvin Kamara, right? I know Alvin Kamara been doing it a little bit longer, but when you talk about the total package, you could run it, you could get outside, you could catch it. I mean, they thought about moving his position to receiver, like he is a special talent catching the football. When they turn the tape on, they are going to see Alvin Kamara having his way with the Raiders linebackers, with the Raiders defense, the way they put him in the bunch formations, the way they used him out of the backfield in the pass catching. You better believe that it's a copycat league, and they're going to try to get number 1, Travis, on the linebackers and get him in space to force those guys to try to tackle him. We have to make sure we stop him. If we do not stop him, we are not going to be able to get them off the field. It's going to be a long day for the Raiders defense.
Last 2 weeks, that man's been averaging 7.1 yards per carry. He looks like that Clemson running back we saw in the national championship. That's him. He was injured his rookie year, and now he is healthy, and he's the number 1 weapon that the Raiders are going to need to stop. So if they can stop him and put the ball in Trevor Lawrence's hands, that is the goal, because Trevor Lawrence has been turning the ball over the last 4 weeks. They've had 11 turnovers as a team, and 9 of them Trevor Lawrence is responsible for. You got to bring that pressure early.
You got to get after him early. You got to get him off his spot. When he gets off the spot, that's when you see the fumbles. That's when you see the forced throws of him trying to press a little bit too much. And there goes the interceptions. There goes the fumbles. But if it is a clean pocket, he's a number 1 draft pick for a reason. He is going to make the throws, right? Any quarterback, I don't care who you are. When we see pressure on Tom Brady is turning the football over. We see pressure on Aaron Rodgers is turning the football over. You have to get these quarterbacks off the spot. You get Trevor Lawrence off the spot, you're going to have some opportunities to get some takeaways. I mean, 9 out of the 11 are his. That's letting you know that you have opportunities, but he cannot be comfortable back there.
Well, as the Raiders are looking at the Jaguars and saying, this is our opportunity to get back on track, well, the Jaguars are doing the same thing to the Raiders. This is a must-win for them as well in the AFC South as they're competing. And here's what Trevor Lawrence had to say about the must-win.
From a defensive perspective, they pose some challenges for us. Obviously, the 2 guys on the edge they got, They got some backers that are flying around. So I mean, they have some great players. So there'll be some things that we got a game plan for, and we'll have a great plan for them. But yeah, I think you look at the league right now and where everybody's at. There's a lot of people in kind of in this similar like middle of the pack feel where this is kind of the time to separate. And November is obviously a huge month, November and December, to set yourself up for the postseason. So, the way we're looking at it, there's still everything in front of us, but it's time to really turn it on, and we got to go on a run here to put ourselves in position. And they're one of those teams in the same position. So both of us were playing for a lot, and I'm sure you're gonna see that Sunday.
People might look at the game last week against the Saints and say, well, the offense didn't score a point, but the defense overall throughout the season is struggling. When you look at the rankings for the defense across the NFL right now, last in sacks, last in takeaways, second to last in red zone percentage. So those, JJ, when you look at that, that tells me the three areas where you can win a game, where you can change the course of a game, where you can make big plays, they're not coming up big.
Yeah, and those are big problems. Number one, right, we're 32nd in sack. That means we're not getting the quarterback off the spot, and that is why you're seeing the takeaways at 32nd as well, because they're comfortable back there and they're not getting any pressure, so you're not able to get any takeaways, right? And then red zone, right? Every defense is built on we can bend but don't break.
Yeah,
we get in the red
three.
Yes, we get in the red zone.
Yeah.
We need to stop them. We need to hold them to 3 or try to find a way to get a takeaway. We're not doing any of that right now, and that has to change if we want to go on a win streak or if we want to even get started and win one game. We got to get that fixed first.
I notice you keep using the word pressure. We got to get pressure. We got to get pressure. Well, that hasn't been happening, JJ. I know you want to show us some of the plays, and especially with Chandler Jones coming over. Nate Hobbs is out, so we've got to generate pressure somehow. But Max Crosby hasn't had a sack in 2 games. The pressure just not there.
A lot of attention on Max, and that's why you need Chandler Jones to step up. But if Chandler Jones does not step up and start getting pressure, then we have to create pressure on our own, and you start bringing some linebackers. You start bringing some guys off the slot to get after the passer. We have some plays that we want to show from last week right here. Andy Dalton, right? Turnover machine against the Cardinals. Look at the pocket. This is clean. Amber could get back here and stand and deliver a pass like this, and it will be completed. The pocket is too clean. There's no pressure. Then again, right here, 4-man rush like we've been doing all season. And look at the pocket. It is clean. Andy Dalton having a field day. And that was 1st and 10, the last play. This is 3rd and 9, so it's not like it's 3rd and 15. Now look. Oh, let's bring a 5-man pressure. Russell Wilson to the ground, right? And I know Hobbs is out, but we got guys that could come off the slot and blitz, right? Bring some pressure to get after the quarterback. And you know what that's going to do? That's going to free up 98. And that's going to let Mad Max be able to get single block and let him go get the quarterback, and he won't be sitting here with no sacks in the last 2 games.
All right, when we come back here on the Silver and Black Show, Coach McDaniels talks about 2 studs on that Jags defense that can bring the pressure. That's next, right here on the Silver and Black Show. The Silver and Black Show is brought to you by Cox, proud partner of the Las Vegas Raiders. Allegiant, the official airline of the Las Vegas Raiders. Low fares, non-stop flights. Book now only at Allegiant.com. 1800, the best taste in tequila and official partner of the Raiders.
Eagles playing with pace. Hurts faking the handoff, the pass batted into the air, and it's picked off. Intercepted by Cisco. Cisco is going to score. Pick 6 for Jacksonville.
Long, athletic, very good in the rush game. Pass rush is very productive. They got multiple people that can get to the quarterback. Their linebackers are very fast. This is probably the quickest, fastest interior part of the defense that we've seen so far this year with their linebackers and safeties. They've gotten their hands on a number of footballs. I think it's 53 passes defensed so far in the 8 games that they played. So this is an athletic team that can really capitalize on mistakes. They chase and run and play with tremendous effort on defense, which jumps out on you on the film. They really swarm to the football. They're playing well as a unit. They're well coached, and like I said, it's going to be a big challenge for us to get off to a good start and then try to play a full 4 quarters against them.
Welcome back to the Silver and Black Show. Coach McDaniel's looking for his first road win as a Raider. They're 0-4 on the road. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. But he's talking about the Jaguars' defense. Another bizarre stat, JJ, is that they give up 19.8 points per game. That's good.
That is
they
really
give up
good.
under 20 points a game. They're a top
really
10 scoring defense. Still have a losing
And the
record.
more and more y'all showing me these stats, y'all scaring me now.
Getting a little bit worried. And you know what? You should be worried about the pass rushers. They got Trayvon Walker, the #1 pick out there in his rookie season, and also Josh Allen, 2019 first-round pick. They're going to bring the pressure against Derek Carr, an offense that didn't score a point last week.
Yep, you better believe that these two pass rushers is watching the film and they seen the pressure that the New Orleans Saints put on Derek Carr last week and made Derek Carr uncomfortable. So you better believe that these guys are coming off the edge. And you're talking about two really talented players. I mean, you heard Coach McDaniels just talk about them, but these two dudes are first rounders for a reason. These guys can stop the run. These guys can get after the passer. Two big-time defenders that they are able to build around out there in Jacksonville, and they are a big reason why you're giving up 19 points a game. So we better make sure we are chipping all day. We are two guys on them all day, forcing someone else to be able to bring the pressure except those two fellas.
And Jermaine Illuminor and Thayer Munford, the rookie, have been playing right tackle. And then, of course, you have Colton Miller at left tackle. But that's going to be the matchup to watch is the pass protection.
Don't leave them by themselves.
Right now, the Raiders are 14th in giving up sacks in the NFL. They've done a pretty good job. They're kind of middle of the pack. Their quarterback hits 18th, pressures 15th right now. But I know, did you just make a phone call to somebody?
Yeah.
In the break?
I did.
I
called my brother Derek Carr. I called him.
What does he need to, what did you just tell him he needs to do?
And I told him, I said, I want over 50 yards rushing.
Exactly.
And he said it's going to be a record, but we're going to get it done. I said, that's all I need to hear.
So when the pressure is coming from the sides, Derek, move up in the pocket, take off. And we saw that against the Denver Broncos. We saw that against the Texans. He can move.
And it's huge for the football team when he does that, right? Everybody's covered, right? The O-line does a solid job. One guy may get beat, and you get outside the pocket and still pick up a first down to keep the drive going. When Derek Carr does this, our offense is even more dangerous. And what's crazy about it is me playing with Derek Carr, he's an athlete. Yeah. Like, he's not like one of those guys where like, hey, you better not be running. No, like, he is an athlete.
And he wears #4.
He can
if you wear #4 to honor Brett Favre, do some Brett Favre kind of stuff. And he can. When he does, we saw him in that game against the Broncos have 40 yards rushing, but more importantly, they were for key first downs. And that's what he needs to do. If he sees that green grass, don't be afraid to take off. Coming up next, how about that defense trying to stop Travis Etienne? Denzel Perryman, the veteran linebacker, will be a big part. We talk to him next on the Silver and Black Show. Here now with linebacker for the Raiders, Denzel Perryman. And Denzel, I have to start off. You have an awesome name. I looked at the year you were born, 1992. That was right when the movie Glory and Ricochet and Malcolm X came out. Did your mom name you after Denzel Washington, or was she a big fan?
Nah, they really did name me after Denzel Washington. Thank God my name was going to be Sebastian. Not saying that Sebastian's a bad name, but I don't think it would have fit me. So I'm glad that they went with Denzel and he came out with all those movies.
That's right. Thank God for Malcolm X. Great performance, by the way. I like it better than Sebastian. I was talking to my colleague, James Jones, on this show, and he called you a banger. You're known for your tackling. Where does that mentality come from? Is that a you thing? Did it start there? Did it start before that?
It started way before the U. It started when I started playing football. My dad used to always tell me, you got to believe whatever you touch, you're going to knock it down. And that's been my mindset since a 6-year-old. I'm like 29. I'll be 30 in, a couple months. Well, I ain't going to say a couple months. Next month, I'll be 30. So for 30 years, that's been my mindset.
Yeah, it started with kicking over Legos and Lincoln Logs and things like that, and now you just knock people over for a living. I love it. You were traded last year to the Raiders, and you made the Pro Bowl for the very first time in your 7-year career. What clicked for you when you came to Las Vegas?
I think I had a lot going on mentally, I can say, but I think what clicked was this, me just letting it all go. Just being in a place where I can say I can just be me. The way I kind of like joke around, play around, and as far as like the way I play on the field, it kind of just let me go.
All right, well, we love seeing you out there now, and this defense is looking to get back on track. This year, the defense has really struggled, especially on third down. The last 3 weeks have been particularly tough, 58% given up on third down. How much of that has been a focus at practice with Patrick Graham and this defense over this past week?
This has been a focus every weekend. Every day, we're working at it. Like you said, we haven't been the best, on third down, and a lot of other areas also. But that's been one of those emphasis that we've been, working at and trying to get better at.
Denzel, is it frustrating because we have seen this defense shut some of the best offenses in the league down for entire halves, but we haven't seen it through a full game? Is it frustrating to have the results that this team has had right now, seeing what this defense is capable of?
Yeah, it's very frustrating. Nobody, likes the record. Nobody likes the results. And, like you said, we have the talent, but, we just got to put it together. Still beginning of the season. It's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. And, like you said, we have played, just, 2 quarters of a game. And, that's what I say. Right now we're just working on putting it all together so we can play a full 4 quarters and, see what the results look like afterwards.
And I see you're in beautiful Florida, back in your home Sunshine State. I know that playing on the road has been tough for this team, 0-4 on the road, looking to get your first win against the Jaguars. What has being out at IMG Academy and staying on the East Coast done for this team? What has the tone kind of been around the academy as you prepare for the Jaguars?
Just being here with the team itself, we had to do a lot of bonding. I don't know if you've ever been to Sarasota, Florida. There's not much to do here.
I have.
This is like a retirement area. But, yeah, so, we just got together as a unit, outside of football. And then as far as football go, just being here, being acclimated with this humidity, the heat, guys to know, how it's going to feel on Sunday. I feel like that's been great.
If I remember my spring training days with baseball, there's one restaurant, a sushi restaurant that stays open in Sarasota past 10. If you don't get to that restaurant, everything else is closed. So I'm gonna send that restaurant to you a little bit later, so you make sure you get some food. Divine Diablo, a young linebacker in your core there that we've seen grow throughout the year. What are you seeing from him as far as upside, and where's his potential?
Like you said, there's been a lot of growth, especially from last year up to this year. He's the guy running the show right now, and I tell him all the time on the sideline, they're not looking for me to say anything. Like, you're running the show, you're in front of the huddle. But, right now, he's doing a great job. He's playing at a phenomenal level. He's out there every single snap. And, he's, like I said, he's been the player. He's becoming a great linebacker.
Thanks a lot, Denzel. I appreciate you joining us. I like that you got your sunshine hat on, the bucket hat in the Sunshine State. Continued success out there. It's been fun watching you and the young linebacker core as well.
Oh, thank you. We would love the support, and stay hydrated.
Always good to stay hydrated. Coming up next, the trade deadline has come and gone. Big trades this past Tuesday. We're going to talk about it next on the Silver and Black Show. The Silver and Black Show has been brought to you by Cox, proud partner of the Las Vegas Raiders. Allegiant, the official airline of the Las Vegas Raiders. Low fares, non-stop flights. Book now only at Allegiant.com. Chevron with Techron gives you unbeatable cleaning and mileage. Chevron, together ahead.
Tons of conversations. The way that this works, when you're going through this process, we talked to all 31 teams, over the course of two weeks. And so had a lot of conversations, during that time. And then when it came down to, it kind of always comes down to the day before and the day of the trade deadline. And yeah, we had talks about different players, some different players on some different teams that could help us in different spots. And at the end of the day, the value has to the value has to equate for you, and you put a value on a player and what you're willing to give up. And if you you can make mistakes when you get over aggressive and you're just doing something to do something. At the end of the day, the value didn't fit for us, and nothing worked out.
So the Raiders, they stood pat on the trade deadline, which came and went last Tuesday. But, JJ, as we were watching, it seemed like these trades were coming in. The biggest names were being traded. And Adam Schefter from ESPN, he said that the 10 trades on the deadline day were the most ever in NFL history. And more importantly, they were huge names. Take a look. Bradley Chubb, hey, he's out of the AFC West.
Man, get him
He
going.
goes to Miami. That is good for the Raiders. Calvin Ridley, that's your guy. You knew him. He goes goes from Atlanta to Jacksonville, even though he can't play right now. He's
Next
still
year they're
suspended.
gonna be problems though.
Yeah, Roquan Smith, he goes
Now
to Baltimore.
Baltimore ain't playing around.
Yeah, they aren't messing around. They needed some help on defense, though. TJ Hawkinson, this was a big surprise. They trade him within the division to go over to the Vikings, and then Chase Claypool, he goes over to Chicago from the Steelers to see what he can do over there. But as we look forward to this game between the Raiders and the Jaguars, there is a trend that is happening right now that's not good for the Raiders. As they go on the road, they haven't been able to win a game. 0-4 on the road so far this season. And yes, we all love Allegiant Stadium. We love playing at home. But if you're going to compete, right, JJ?
Got to win on the road.
You got to win on the road. And look at these numbers. It's not just that they're 0-4. You can see why. At home, 31 points a game. Away, 17.5. Look at the point differential. Minus 32 on the road. They've been outscored.
Get the last one.
In the turnover differential.
That's the one.
Double the turnovers.
That is the one. If we could get into the plus, even if it's +1 on that turnover, we are going to be okay.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to the game. That is going to be a 10 o'clock kickoff local because it's an East Coast game. So be sure you check it out. And
so get some sleep and let's get up and let's get ready to go. If I got to come up in there and talk to y'all next week, it's going to be a problem. Let's ride, man. Let's go. This is the game. It is must win in my book. We got to get this one done.
It is. And if you're going to do it for anybody, let's do it in memory of Ray Guy because this week, very sad news for the Raiders family. Raider legend, Hall of Famer Ray Guy, he passed away at the age of 72. One of the greats, one of the old-timers, the best punter ever to play in the history of the NFL, the only punter in the Hall of Fame.
Special.
Only person to ever be drafted, punter to be drafted in the first round. So we send our condolences to his family as we remember Ray Guy. All right, so it is. It's going to be game time coming up. 10 o'clock local time, going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. For James Jones, I'm Amber Theoharis. We'll see you on Raiders Game Day right after.